let me show you how you find tax sale overages. It's very easy. And there are two methods that you're going to be doing to do this. The first method is the most typical. That's you just do a simple internet search and you'll find the list of overages. Now, a couple things you need to know. First, overages come under different names. One name is overages. A second name is excess funds. A third one that you'll hear is overbids. And that's really pretty much what you're going to hear. Whatever it's called, it's going to be consistent within that state because overages are done under state law. So whatever they call it in the state law, that's what the various counties call it. Second thing you need to know about this is that the list is with the person or the entity in the government that held the tax sale. So if you're trying to figure out who has the list, if you look to see who does the foreclosure, so if you look, for example, look for advertisements for foreclosure auctions, and we're talking about tax deed foreclosure auctions, not tax liens. Topic for another day. If you want to know more about that, put a comment in and I'll talk about it. But anyway, we're talking about tax deed sales where they're selling the actual property. That's where we get overages from, because an overage, remember, is when the property sells for more than the debt. And so, for example, if they're just talking about a couple years worth of taxes, the property will almost always sell for a lot more than that. And the difference between what the government collected and what they're owed in taxes, that's the money that the former owner is able to get, and that's called the overages or overbids or excess funds. So back to how to get them. The most common way is just a simple internet search. So for example, if you were working in Georgia, I'll just give you an easy one. If you typed in DeKalb County excess funds, now, DeKalb is spelled D-E-K-A-L-B. Type that in, and what you're going to see is a list. That's a list that's available right now. There's no charge for it. That is the current list. A lot of times people ask me, when they show me lists, is how do I know it's the current list? If it's on the website, it's the current list. And if you want to satisfy yourself with that, you can feel free to call the contact number on the website. It's going to be the government agency that has the funds, and they will tell you, oh, the list on our website is the current one. So if you want to do that, do it. But I'm just telling you that's what it is. It is the current list. And they update that list as new sales come in, they add overages in. As overages as cheat out, meaning they get forfeited to the government because they've been sitting for too long, then they're taken off the list. And in the few times when people claim the money, then those also come off the list. So the list you're looking at is the current list. And you can see the list is a whopper, right? There are a lot of tax sales right now. Lots of money's being held. Lots of people are never going to get their money without URI. You can see just by the age of a few of these. A few of them are, not a few of them, a lot of them are several years old where a lot of money is owed. So that's how you find the list. And in a few places, and this is getting less and less common, but in a few places, you have to either write to them to request the list or send a specific email. That's getting unusual, but it still is in a couple of maybe more rural counties or a couple odd spots. But if you're doing the internet searches, for example, such and such county excess funds list, and by the way, it works if you do excess funds, it works if you do overages. Overbids I haven't tried, so I'm not sure about that one. But anyway, if you're not finding it that way, you can call the department that's doing the tax foreclosures. And what I would do is just do another internet search, which would be, for example, DeKalb County tax sale. And you're going to see information about the tax sales that they hold. And tax sales, again, just to review it, tax sales are when someone doesn't pay their taxes for 3 or 4 years. And then the county will sell your property to recover those taxes because they need to collect the money to pay the police, the firefighters, the mayor, the library, the road maintenance, the trash pickup, blah, 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 all that stuff. So there's always a way to foreclose on the property if the property owner doesn't pay their taxes. That's just the way it is in the whole country. So what you're looking for is the department that does the tax foreclosures. Now, if that doesn't work, it should, but in case it doesn't, then what I want you to do is just reach out to the tax collector, meaning the real estate tax collector in that county. And again, you could just type in a search, real estate tax collector, DeKalb County, Georgia. You could do this for any county in America. You could do it for real estate tax collector, Fairfield County, Connecticut. It would work. Any place would work. So you type that search in and you're going to end up at, of course, the tax collector's site. And what I would do then is just simply pick up the phone and call them or send them an email saying, hey, when someone doesn't pay their taxes, who's the person that sells the properties? And it may be their office. Sometimes they have a collections agency that's separate from them, meaning a collections office. And that'll be called typically a delinquent tax office. Sometimes the sales are done by the county sheriff or the county treasurer. They will be able to tell you that. And different counties can handle this differently, so it may take a phone call or an email to get that information. But most importantly, the thing I want you to remember, where you're going to start with this is by calling the office that collects the real estate taxes, because they know if the taxes aren't paid, what happens and who gets the file. Typically it's their office, but again, it may be another office like the sheriff's office. And then what you want to do, whoever they tell you does tax sales, that's the person you can contact and they will have the list. Now, occasionally they're going to say to you, oh, could you send in a written request? That's very few and far between these days, but occasionally you're going to get that. And typically with that, they're going to say to you, oh, and just send a self-addressed stamped envelope along with $3 to get the list. What they're doing is they're charging you to photocopy photocopy the list. And typically these lists are 3, 4, 5 pages. Typical copying charges $1 a page. So again, you're talking $3, $4, $5. If you have a 5-page list, like for example, the DeKalb County list, if you have a list like this, you can see how many leads are on 5 pages because DeKalb County is a 5-page list. So that list will cost you, if it weren't available at the internet, which this one is, but if it were one where they said, oh, send away for the list, that would cost you all $5 and you'd probably have $15 million worth of lead that you could then call. So it's just nominal. It's a wonderful thing about this business because once you get that list, you then follow our process to get the contact information for the people, call them up, tell them the good news, sign them up, and go get their money for them. It's really very straightforward, but it all starts by finding the tax sale overages list. And again, first thing is internet search. If that doesn't work, then reach out to the department that holds tax sales. If you're unable to find that, then just simply reach out to the county real estate tax collector and ask them who handles the foreclosures and talk to that department. It won't take you long. This is a very easy part of the business. A lot of times people ask me, what are the challenges in the business? The challenges are more just doing the work, meaning getting the list, finding the people. That's not too much, but then picking up the phone and calling them. And often we have students that are having a difficult time. They're just afraid to make the calls. And what I would encourage you to do is just pick up the phone and call. People are not monsters. They're not going to be mean to you. They're just fine. Call them and see if they want some help. You have great news for them. If you think about the news that you're bringing, you have the news that there's a big fat refund that they're owed and you know where that money is and you can help them get it. So it's really good news. So don't be afraid to call with great news. You're like Ed McMahon showing up after the Publishers Clearinghouse, if you remember that. Those old ads where Ed would drive around in the Chrysler minivan with a big giant check. You're like Ed McMahon, except you're calling them, asking if they'd like their big check. And of course they would. Anyway, that's it for now. If you have questions, just put them in the comments and I'll get to the ones that I can get to and we'll maybe do another video if that's needed. So that's how you find the tax sale overages. I would say 95% of the time these days, the internet search for such and such county excess funds list is going to get you right to the list. For those few other ones, now you know how to handle them. Anyway, good luck out there. Look forward to hearing about your success. This is Attorney Bob Diamond, over and out for now.